Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. And you know, I say we're working on it, which is really a misnomer because you have to be working on it. I can't work on it for you. I can motivate you. I can lead you. I can give you ideas. I can show you techniques. I can teach you things that will get you there faster, but it isn't going to get you anywhere if you don't get up off the couch. I want you to understand something that's very important. This year has almost already passed you by. Well, what do you mean, Del? Are you kidding me? You know, I'll get going on this stuff right after there's no more football to watch. I mean, football got me tied up. Monday night football, Thursday night football, and Saturday and Sunday football. And forget it if I'm a college football fiend, because then I'm going to be watching Saturday also. So, Del, how could you possibly expect me to do anything to become successful at all when there's pro and college football out there for me to watch? You know, that's so much more important than my financial situation. I could go out and buy a rent house and make an extra $500 a month and be paying down on a mortgage that someday will leave me with $100,000 or $200,000 worth of equity in a home that my family will have that it wouldn't have, that I'd have to be able to put my kid through college. Yes, I could do that. I could have done 3 or 4 of them by now. Many people have already done 2 or 3 this year. And so I would have $1,500 a month positive cash flow and $300,000 worth of assets appreciating at about a 2% rate with a pay down on the mortgage that will eventually get me the fact that it'd be worth $300,000 to $600,000. I could have done that, Del, but no, football was more important. But then once football was over, you go, well, you know what? We need to move smoothly from football season into basketball season. Yes. And I had to wait, of course. Couldn't do anything. Is it exciting? Yes. Is it fun to watch? Absolutely. It is the most important thing I could live for, right? No, Del, I couldn't have done what you said to do, which was just record the whole stupid thing, and then go out all day long on Saturday and Sunday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and get something done for my family. You know, maybe buy a rent house or 2 and change the way my life is, change $1,000 a month worth of positive cash flow, change the fact that I have another $200,000 worth of assets working for me in the long term of my life. But no, I decided just to watch. It'd be way more fun to watch it live, maybe get drunk with my friends. You know, once you get drunk and you're watching these games, then you're really useless for the rest of the day, so it's kind of a waste. But guess what? The NBA All-Stars is over with. Say, but yeah, we still got to watch the season. You know, I'm waiting for my team to make a great comeback. We've got all these superstars. We want to see what this stuff does. And I'm telling you right now, there's no need to even watch. Mark my words, write this down. This doesn't even make me a genius to figure this out. Now, do you really need to waste the next 6 months of your life worrying about who's going to place where? All of it doesn't matter. Remember what Nellie said. Number 1 is the only thing that's important. 2 is not a winner, and 3, no one remembers. So all of this peripheral, extraneous movement and activity is just psychological for the average guy that doesn't want to get up off the couch and go do something. You see, you have to realize the way the world really works. It's passing you by, moment by moment by moment. Yes, women, you too, I know you've been terribly trapped by your husband's indulgence in sports. Maybe you're even a sports fan, and maybe even you're a Bachelor fan. Well, ladies, guess what? It's back to the family hometown dates this week, which means there's only 2 more shows left, unless you want to watch all the extra shows that they put in because they're trying to figure out how to get you to watch more and they can get more advertising dollars. So they come up with after the rose and before the next rose and who's the next guy and what's going to happen next. All of this is designed to do what TV and radio is designed to do, which is to keep you from thinking about day-to-day life, about your future, about your family, about anything of importance. You just got to get tied in to all of this nonsense that they want you to watch. Now, I'm not a hypocrite. I watch some basketball. I watch some football. So I'm not saying I'm a hypocrite. But what I'm saying is I've already put in place those things that I need to put in place. I get up during the day and I get things done during the day that I need to get done. Nighttime, those things have been recorded for me or they're on. Usually I like to watch things recorded, but for one thing, just as a trick. And when you record it, you can cut out all the advertisements and the commercials and so forth. And I can get a 2-hour basketball game down to an hour. That's really a lot of savings. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is you don't realize your life is passing you by. As you sit here, time is flying by. You know what's interesting about time? Is it supposedly it moves at the same pace at all times. But I believe it was Einstein's relative theory that said it doesn't. When you are actively involved in something that is important, time flies by. So when you're trying to become successful, time is flying by. But if you understand that in theory, relativity is relative to your thinking and your brain and your feeling and the prevalence of what's going on, it doesn't mean the same thing as it's actually moving faster. Time is moving fast at all times. Even when you're wasting your life away, laying on the couch, sitting on the couch, whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, again, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I've spent the last 2 days, 2 hours a day or better out in the sun by my ponds, cleaning my ponds, feeding my fish, working on the yard, just enjoying the beauty that we've had here in Houston the last couple of days. It was the most incredible days I've seen in a long time. And that, to me, is being well invested. It's well invested into the things in life that are most important, right? But it's that other stuff that's not important. And so here over the last couple of weeks, I have been able to get myself back into motivation to lose weight, get in shape, work out on a regular basis, because I too have all those things that come up in my life. So again, not being a hypocrite, but just simply stating to you as someone who has been able to overcome the negative force of inertia, to want to sit and do nothing, to be able to motivate yourself to take action. Here it is, February, almost the end of which 2 out of 12 months have already passed you by. How many units have you purchased? How much better off is your family? How much weight have you lost? How many times have you told your spouse that you love him and her or her? How many times have you told your children you love them? How many times have you gone and done something with them to perpetuate the family and or their life? And then how much have you just sat around and done nothing? What can you look back to in these last months and say, wow, that made a real difference to our lives? You know, I talk to people every day, and it's interesting because when I get these emails, and they interviewed a bunch of people at the expo also, and you hear the same thing. We listened to you on the radio for a month, 2 months, and that's a relatively fair amount of time to evaluate whether or not the ideas make sense to you. But some people, and many people say, I listened to you for 5 years. I just wasn't ready to do something yet. And 5 years later, it just, boom, a blink of an eye. And there they are, 5 years older and no better off. I hear people tell me all the time, I came to your seminar even 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And it just wasn't at that point in my life where I was ready to do something. And so I did nothing. But I'm back. Yeah. 5 years, 10 years later, you're back. Look at what you could have had by then. Look at all the people that come in here and say, okay, 2 years I've been a member and I've already accumulated enough real estate to retire. 3 and 4 years, I've been able to become a millionaire. And you've sat on the couch and done nothing. My friends, the time is coming clear that there's going to look back and the year be over. Say, Del, that is so pessimistic. No, my friend, that is so optimistic that I can get you to change the way you look at life and do something right now. If you'd like to call in, our number here is 866-945-6565. Feel free to call in during the break. The lines are open. Tell us your stories about what you've accomplished this year, or just moan that you've done nothing. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to Del Walmsley Radio Show. Next topic we're going to talk about here is living longer and what's that doing to our society. Tends to be a big topic out there, and you talk about retirement and being able to be financially free. Living longer is an interesting concept, right? I'm going to cover my ideas after I just read some of these articles that came out of the off the internet. Let's see. The first one here is from Reuters. It says October 21st. The numbers are not adding up for recent college graduates counting on comfortable retirement. New data from nerdwallet.com, a financial information website, suggests young people on average will work 13 years longer than today's typical retirees. Right now, the average retirement age is a youthful 62, but the class of 2015, 75 will be the average expected age, NerdWallet said. Given a normal life expectancy of 84 for someone now 23 years old, that leaves less than a decade to enjoy the golden years without the 9-to-5 grind. So let's frame this. What they're saying is that our children, kids today, are going to live to 84 on average, but they're going to have to work to age 75, whereas our generation right now is working to age 62, but they're living to be like 78 to 80 years old. So what's happening here is 2 or 3 things are happening at the same time. One, people are living longer. So they're going to need to be able to sustain income into the future. And what this is basically saying is they don't know how to do it unless they work. So they can't retire. They're just going to have to keep working longer and longer and longer. Now, my point to that would be, have you met anybody 75 years old still working? I mean, they're out there, but my gosh, what are they doing? What can you do up into your 70s and be successful and fruitful at it? Unless you own your own business, where the bottom line is you don't really do anything except own it. You know, passive streams of income will work all the way up until your 80s. But being out there working, right? It says, in addition, young people are spending more time in the rental market before buying homes. With home ownership comes home equity and valuable tax deductions. The more years they pay rent, the longer this generation is missing out on the benefits of real estate investing. So obviously they're not building a nest egg. Like we talked about yesterday, I think I covered it, or Monday, covered the fact that, if you don't own any real estate, how are you building up any net worth, right? That's the asset base of choice by almost all Americans, has been for years, decades actually. But all is not lost. Here are some ways to beat back the clock. I love this. First, young people can simply live at home for a while. That knocks rent off the budget. So you see what's happening. They're saying we are going to take our kids and make them children all the way into their 30s and their 40s so they can save enough money to maybe buy a home or to get through college, right? We can live with family up to age 25. You can narrow the finish line to an age of 70 retirement by the 5 years, according to NerdWallet. So what they're saying is that if you stay at home until you're 25 and save money from what normally would be at the regular age, you can save up enough money to be able to retire by 70 instead of 75. And too many millennials are keeping cash on the sidelines, investing and not investing at all. So what happens here, guys, is that you're seeing a gigantic percentage of our population right now, and probably the largest percentage right now, because the millennials have become the largest percentage, and they are looking to no retirement. I mean, to me, looking to no retirement to age 75 is basically looking to no retirement, is the way I see it. And retiring at 75, and bless all of you guys that are 75 and feel like you're great. I'm 60, and I feel like 4 trucks have run over me. I feel like 4 different times in my life a truck hit me. I fell down. They thought I was dead. They took me to the hospital. They took all the pieces, taped them back on again, and threw me back out there. And I go, wow, okay, I'm back again. And then boom, another truck hit me. And I've said this, you've heard it if you listen to me on a regular basis. I've had staph, I've had cancer. I almost died of a ruptured appendix. You name it, I've had it go wrong with me. Diabetes, terrible diabetes, all kinds of structural physical injuries on my body. And this all started happening about when I was 50, right? This all started happening right when I turned 50. And from 50 to 60, this 10 years has just been murder. I can't imagine what 60 to 70 will be like if I live it, if I even survive it. But to have gone through this and to say, wow, I am so happy to say that in age 27, 28, 29, I decided that I better get something going. And so 2.5 years after I started investing in real estate, at 34 years of age, I was able to retire. Now, I tell you that not to impress you, but to impress upon you. It took me 2.5 years. Some people it takes 3, some it takes 4, some it takes 5. I think the longest it's ever taken by anybody who was serious about wanting to retire is 7. But see, what I'm saying to you is this article is not about, hey, Del, we're arguing with your 2 to 5 year theory. We think it should be more like 7 to 10. These guys are arguing you're going to work from age 20 to age 75. That's 55 years to come up with enough money to retire. Wow. Now, here's the pro and the con to this. The pro is from that is that, hey, if this is really true, then it makes all kinds of sense if you're 40 or 50 or 60 years old to get started right now. Because you still have time. Wealth is an accumulation. It's not something you just fall into a hole and you're rich. Even if you win the lottery, most people don't keep that money. But it's an accumulation. So you make money year after year. You take that money, reinvest it year after year, and you grow exponentially. So the longer you can stay in the game, the more money, more wealth you can accumulate. The more wealth that you can accumulate, the more passive streams of income you can grow. And the more passive streams of income you grow, the better your quality of life, because you no longer have to work for income because you have passive income. The better your quality of life because you have assets. You have depreciation and tax advantages. The better the quality of life because your income goes up every year as you grow exponentially. As a wealth base, you also are growing, if done correctly, exponentially in an income base. And even if the income-based growth is only linear, let's say, okay, this year we pick up $1,000 cash flow. Next year we pick up another $1,000. Next year we pick up another $1,000. In 10 years, that's $10,000 a month. Now, most people don't do it that way. Most people go 1,000, pick up 2,000 next year, pick up 4,000 next year, and they're done because they grow exponentially, because now they know how and they have the ability. But either way, you need to understand you've got to get started now. If you'd like to call in, our number here is 866-945-6565. We'll take a short break. Phone lines are open. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Our number here is 866-945-6565. My address, if you want to contact me, is askdel@luinc.com, which stands for Lifestyles Unlimited, Inc. So it's askdel@luinc.com. Today's discussion is how this new longevity we're looking at in life is going to affect retirement and so forth. Lifestyles. This next article that was sent to me is, let's see, from the Chronicle. Is that what it says it's from? And it talks about more Americans are living past 100. Yeah, so what does that mean? What does that mean to be living past 100 to you? Well, it means that you're probably going to run out of money. The old theory, the concept of save up a lump sum of money and try to die before you run out of money, is not going to work if you're going to live to be 100 years of age. Even under the concept that we just spoke about in the last segment, where people are retiring at age 75, how do you then support yourself for another 25 years, right? So you're going to live on Social Security for 25 years? Maybe that's possible. I guess if you're that old and you can't do anything and you can't move around, and maybe you live with your kids, maybe that's going to be the next thing that's going to happen is you start seeing old people living with each other. I think it's going to mean there's going to be a new type of housing out there. There's going to have to be a better senior living type housing arrangement. I know I owned a senior citizens place for about 15 years. And these people lived into their 70s and 80s sometimes, and they lived all by themselves, self-sufficient, although we did have communal dining areas and so forth and recreation for them to do, but they lived in their own apartment, took care of themselves. But they basically were broke. I mean, they lived on Social Security, and some of them had a little bit of a pension. A lot of them were teachers and stuff, had pensions there. But what are you going to do if you're going to live to 100 years of age? And my point to you is this. If you go out there and put together a $5,000 a month income, let's just start at the bottom. You're going to get $2,000 a month of Social Security. What if you picked up just another $2,000 a month in positive cash flow by buying a couple rent houses, right? Maybe you got 4 rent houses. You got $2,000 a month coming in. That doubles the amount of income you're living on, doubles your quality of lifestyle. And it will continue as long as you live. It's not going to just disappear unless you don't maintain your assets. But as long as you maintain your rental assets, it's going to continue to grow, increase in value, pay off the mortgage. Someday you'll be able to refinance out, pull the money out, and go buy a couple more. Then you're up to $6,000 a month. Now you're 3 times the quality of lifestyle. For those of you that are getting started a little younger, and we'll get you off the couch before you're 60 years of age, you could very easily build up a $5,000 to $10,000 a month passive stream of income that you could live off for the rest of your life. Now, that isn't really what happens here, because most people that build up a $5,000 or $10,000 stream of income see how easy it was to first do it, and second of all, to maintain it, that they end up going out and increasing that from 5 to 10, or from 10 to 15, or from 15 to 20. They add a little more to it because now they go, wow, sweet. Now that we know we're safe and we can live for the rest of our lives without worrying about going broke, let's add enough passive income to be able to afford a couple good trips a year, maybe 1 international trip a year and 1 or 2 local trips a year, and be able to have enough money to afford that. Let's make sure that we've got enough income to, put aside some money for the grandchildren's college fund. Now that we're safe and secure, we can worry about other people's problems that we could not worry about back when we were worrying about ourselves. That's a neat thing. So this living to 100 years of age could turn out to be a really good thing, because I'm thinking to myself, every year my wealth grows. Every year my income grows. What if I could keep going for another 40 years? I mean, I made most of my income from age 30 to age 60, right? So that's 30 years. What if I go another 30 years to 90? Would I double my income? No, I'd actually quadruple my income, because now I make 4 times more than what I made when I started my wealth search. So I think it's a situation where you can look forward to these years being financially very secure if you take action right now. And that's the key to this thing. You got to get out there and take action right now. So what is the marketplace looking like right now? Well, I just got done reading a Marcus and Millichap report on how they see the economy. And I'm telling you, you go down this thing and you read this and you go like, my gosh, this is like the world is incredible. Employment is up. Consumer consumption is up. Inflation is controlled. Interest rates are still low. The labor participation rate is up. Occupancies are up. Rents are up. I mean, as I sit here and I read this stuff to myself, I'm going, golly. Think of all the people, the Pied Piper of real estate, got to go into it since 2008 when the market crashed and everybody thought the world was ending. Think of how happy all of those people are listening to this radio show right now, knowing you're right. I've made hundreds of thousands on the low side, millions on the high side if I did what Del said to do. And I'm sitting here thinking, what is it going to take to get the rest of you to take that action? The guy who sent me the email the other day and said, look, I'm tracking. You told me to get out of the stock market when I joined. In December, I got out. I'm tracking what happened. I would have lost $70,000 already in the stock market. To me, that was the amount it took me to take the money out and pay the taxes on it. And so I ended up, in a position where I have just as much money now as I would have had. And I've got the taxes paid. So I'm in a better situation. And all this comes down to, folks, is taking action. You've got to be involved. If you go out there and you buy a piece of real estate, even if it's just a rent house, and it's paying you $400 or $500 a month, think what $400 or $500 a month means to your family. I used to talk about this in the seminar all the time. I say, look, first 4 houses I bought got me $880 a month of positive cash flow, but that was only because they were $220 each. Let's say you buy 4 rent houses, now you get $2,000 a month. What would $2,000 a month extra income mean to your family? Well, take it this way. It would completely change the quality of your life in one way or another. How do people recognize wealth in our society? One way they recognize is how nice is your home. Well, add a $2,000 a monthly payment on top of whatever you're paying right now. Remember, this is marginal income. You've already got what you got. This is $2,000 more, and I think a lot of people miss that. They go, well, I couldn't live on $2,000. No, we're not talking about living on it. You've already got whatever you got. We're adding $2,000 to it. So now you add $2,000 a month to your mortgage payment. What kind of house could you live in? I'm telling you, very extravagant. Then you go out here and say, well, what kind of a car can I drive? $2,000 a month. Take whatever you're paying for a car payment now, and if you're not paying because you paid it in cash, break it into car payments and add $2,000 a month to it. What could you drive? You could drive anything you want to drive, basically. Any car you want. You probably could have 2. Super nice ones for that amount of money. So what does $2,000 a month mean? It means just about everything. It means it is equal to the amount of Social Security that the highest paid people, the people who paid the most in Social Security, the most you can get, because I'm one of those guys, is $2,400 a month. Unless you don't retire until you're 70, and then they give you additional increases for not taking it when you were eligible to take it. But without that, $2,400 a month, the maximum. And I'm saying to you, you're going to pay into a system a large percentage. Social Security and Medicare is 15%. You're going to pay in 15% of your income a year, right, to come out with $2,000 a month. When it's so easy for you to go out there and just create $2,000 a month worth of income, doesn't make any sense to me why people are taking the approach that they're taking. It's so much easier than what you're making it out to be. Let's go buy a rent house or 2. Let's make it real easy. Forget about buying an apartment. I know that people sit here and they listen to us talk about apartments all the time. Forget about apartment. You're not psychologically, mentally strong enough to even think about doing that because it doesn't make any sense to you. You can't even fathom it. So let's talk about buying a couple of rent houses. Let's go out there and pick up $1,000, $2,000 a month positive cash flow. Let's do it right now, this year. Let's get out there and do it right now so that by summertime, you've got an extra $1,000 a month coming in. While you go on vacation, you go, wow, there's an extra $1,000 a month, 12 months, that's $12,000 a year. There's one heck of a vacation we can take, or pay as you go instead of paying by borrowing, right? And interesting little fact that I'll pick up on, well, I'll leave it to the next segment. Let's go ahead and invite people in on this conversation. Our number is 866-945-6565. Take a short break. Phone lines will be open. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. I got sent an interesting article here. Email, not an article, email. And gentleman sent this to me. I'm going to read it to you. Said, I just wanted to tell you thank you for your show. I recently heard something on another radio show that I thought was very thought-provoking. It was a commercial for an up-and-coming show where the host was going to describe how we come up with solutions to problems we have. The show was prefaced by saying, the mother of all invention is necessity. And they went on to describe how people only put forth effort to fix problems we face on a day-to-day basis, and how we tend to just grin and bear it through problems we only encounter once in a while. I thought it would be very interesting to hear you take it on. Just the introduction to the show encouraged me to start listing my problems I face on a daily basis and try to find ways to solve them. I started my list when I'm sure I started my list, as I am sure most would, a lack of time for family and friends. And I'm okay on money, but that's because of my lack of time for money and friends. I'm hoping to take the plunge into becoming a preferred member. I have to borrow from the 401k to pay for the training, and I'm pretty concerned about it, but I keep hopeful that by listening to your show, thanks to all you do. I'm sure you have thought about it, but it's pretty crazy to think how many lives have been changed generously through your program. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's go back to these two premises. You said, how would I contend on these? I think the very concept that we go through life dealing with problems as they come up is exactly the problem itself. Most people in life don't have a plan. They have none. They get up every day and they face whatever problem or obstacle they run into. And then Mother of Invention gives them an idea that is absolutely the wrong idea, because if you don't plan to solve a problem, you will not have the tools necessary in advance to be able to solve the problem. So let's see a guy's car breaks down. Mother of Invention says, use your credit card, go get your car fixed so you can get to work, because those are the pressing issues of the moment. Whereas if the guy would have said, what am I going to do when my car breaks down in the future? See, there's not even a problem there yet, but we realize the problem is you need to have an emergency fund. But an emergency fund is something you think about before there's ever an emergency. But this show is going to be maybe interesting to see how people concoct all kinds of instantaneously gratificationally diseased solutions to their up-and-coming momentary problems in life. But anybody who lives life fighting on a momentary basis is not going to ever be successful. And so as this gentleman says, he says, I can see what my problem is. He says, I'm looking for financial freedom to where I have time for my friends, family, and fun. He goes, I have money, but it's because I don't have any friends, family, or fun. See, everything in life becomes a trade-off when you have an instantaneous decision. When you face a complex issue, it's fight or flight. That's all your brain can do is fight or flight. But if you can think it through, think about in the old days, walking around out in the jungle, walking around out in the woods, and all of a sudden we get attacked. We fight or we flight. But if we were smart, what we did was we built a fort, and we lived inside of walls, so as these people came after us, they couldn't get to us. And then we realized, but what they could do is they could starve us out. So instead of hunting for food every day where we had to go out and hunt for food, we decided to grow crops and store crops. So now we have storages of grain and salted meats and so forth saved away so we can survive. And yet, those problems come up, we're able to solve them, not because we were the mother of invention. We were able to survive them because we thought about them in advance and took care of them. And so you see, this concept here is really simple. Now, the last part of this guy's thought was, okay, I'm afraid to pull out my 401k money to get started. That's absolutely the right thing to feel, because you've been taught your entire life that this 401k money is the solution. Now what you're saying is, I'm going to have to, first of all, disbelieve what I've been taught my entire life, which is very difficult to do. Second of all, act in a manner in which my subconscious is not going to feel safe. See, when you make decisions on a daily basis, the decision comforts you. When I drink a glass of wine, that wine comforts me. Is that wine good for me? No. Is that a good idea to have a glass of wine all the time? No. But that wine comforts me. When you go out and do something that comforts you, you spend money in a way that comforts you, that takes away the pain, that money's never going to do anything towards getting you where you want to go. So every day when you put a few bucks in the 401k, that's saying to you in your brain, see, I am taking action towards my retirement, and that comforts me. to take money out of the 401k is just exactly opposite. And it's saying to you, man, this is uncomfortable. And what is it that's hard to do? That which is uncomfortable. The stuff that's comfortable, the easy little things that we do that mean very little in life, they're comfortable because they're easy. The important stuff, the big rocks in our life, the ones that really make a difference, are the ones that got to be thought about in advance and got to get in the pickle jar first. The big rocks have got to get in first. And they can't be a last-minute, knee-jerk reaction judgment call because the mother of invention said, hey, we need to hurry up and make more money really quick. Let's take big risks now because we're getting close to old age. Let's take a lot of risks now because we're getting close because we didn't make it in the long run. Should be modified to say, hey, we've been doing a small amount every year to the point now where we're very, very safe and secure, and we don't have to take those big risks. We can live a comfortable, safe life. Rule 1, never lose money. Rule 2, there's got to be cash flow. And then when those two are taken care of, then you can work on Rule 3, which is you can't get rich slow. Then you can go for the big bang. But what I see over and over and over again is people don't take care of Rule 1 and they lose their money. They don't take care of Rule 2 and they have no cash flow. And then all of a sudden they wake up one day and they go, boy, I need the big bang. I need to get rich quick. So they play the lottery or they start gambling or they buy into some risky investments and end up losing it all. No, my friends, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to get up today off of that couch. Get up and go take the first step towards getting going. If that means joining Lifestyles, then join Lifestyles. If you already remember and it means going and looking for a deal, do that. But remember this. You've got to do it now because we're not doing it for money. We're doing it for a lifestyle. And the lifestyle starts today.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.